Welcome back. You're watching Newsx. My name is Vineet Malhotra. Well, the government has shared that a tripartite meeting amongst representatives of the Ministry of Home Affairs, the government of Manipur and the Kuki National Organization and United People's Front was held in New Delhi today. A significant decision to open the National Highway 2 for free movement of commuters and essential goods was taken in the meeting. The meeting had been taking place since June this year, when the centre had revived talks with the Kuki and Meitei groups as part of restoring peace in the troubled state. Along with this, the KNO and the UPF have also agreed to relocate 7 designated camps away from areas that are vulnerable to conflict. The other agreements include reduction in the number of designated camps, relocation of weapons, and also stringent physical verification of cadres by security forces to delist foreign nationals if there are any. The pact also decided that a joint monitoring group will henceforth closely monitor enforcement of ground rules, and violations will be dealt with firmly in future, including review of the SOO agreement. We'll talk about this with our guest. Joining us on the show is Major General G.G. Dwivedi, Global Strategic Defense Expert, Mr. Vishwajit Singh, lawyer and legal advisor to Kuki Organization for Human Rights, Dr. P.K. Mishra, Additional DG, PSF, Dr. Seram Rajesh, convener of the Delhi Meitei Co-Coordinating Committee and senior journalist, and Major Muhammad Ali Shah, defense expert, also joins us on the program. General Dwivedi, I'll begin with you. Sir, a simple question. Is this good news? Is this perhaps a catalyst into this very complicated and convoluted situation that the centre has not been able to wrap its head around?
Well, Vineet, I think it's a great news because Manipur have been in dire state for more than 2 years, and there was almost stalemate or state of impasse and a lot of frustration among the people of Manipur and those of us who actually have deep concerns for Manipur. So therefore, these two developments are very important. Firstly, National Highway 2 is a lifeline to Manipur Imphal from Dimapur side, and also it further runs down as Tidam Road toward Chudachandpur. And the roads are lifeline, and once the roads are open, then naturally normalcy will return. And secondly, the re-signing of the suspension of operation agreement. Incidentally, whenever the GOC in 2005, this agreement was drafted, and later on it was implemented in 2007. But due to the current situation, this agreement was possibly held in abeyance. And 2-3 important points which emerged. One was the territorial integrity of Manipur, because it is not acceptable that there are further, geographic changes in this state. And there was one time demand among the Kukis that they want a separate state. So I think that issue gets well settled. Secondly is the camps per se, because there are certain camps which are very vulnerable, which are very close to the so-called buffer zones, and they are actually one where a lot of trouble could have taken place, and that also is being taken care of. Thirdly is the verification of foreigners, because there have been certain amount of apprehension that certain foreign elements have also infiltrated into the current the groups or the various organizations. So that is also a very important point. And of course, the joint monitoring of the agreement, because agreements are as good how they are implemented, and to that extent, monitoring process is, I think, in place. So I feel that certain amount of normalcy will come in. This is a good start, and we hope that the things are back on track. And I also learned that Prime Minister intends to visit the Manipur state and Mizoram. In fact, that visit is long due. I'm sure once the visit takes place, there'll be a lot of forward movement politically. So as a well-wisher of Manipur, I am very glad that this agreement or this significant steps have been instituted, and we wish very well for the people of Manipur. I think this is a new start for this state. Vineet.
All right. Fair enough, sir. Let me also rope in Dr. P.K. Mishra into this conversation. Dr. Mishra, this is, of course, great news coming in. And I think what's so heartening about this update, sir, is the fact that a number of these parties, which did not see eye to eye in the past, have finally decided to get along.
Yeah, there is no doubt. It's a good news. It's one of the best news in Manipur. And the tripartite agreement which was done today, in fact, we have to thank both KNO and also the EPF, and so also the Manipur government and the central government and MHA. And in fact, this is not the beginning. In fact, the position will definitely improve. And the best part of it, our National Highway 2 will remain open. And of course, this is the main lifeline from Dimapur to Imphal, that also to Churachandpur, and also to More. So this will open, and this will benefit not only to KNO, not only to Kukis, not only to Nagas, not only to uh, I mean, Meiteis, to each and every one in Manipur state. And that's a very good sign. And the best part of it, they have agreed that all the weapons will be deposited in nearby CRPF and Assam Rifle and BSF camps. That's a very good news. And this number of camps which were earlier there, they will be reduced. The number of camps will be reduced, and they will be removed from conflict zones. That's a very good sign. And the way in fact from last June, MHA was trying its best with having a discussion with both KNO, EPF, and also Meitei groups. And this is a very good news that they have come up to this expectation. And by when NH2 will be open, that will be definitely benefited to each and every Manipuri. And we must thank both central government and Manipur government and UP and KNO for all this particular tripartite agreement. And definitely, of course, there was penetration of few uh, foreigners. Of course, I'll be very frank in telling it, from Myanmar. They came and they entered, and they were perhaps they entered SO group, but now, of course, that will be checked by security forces, and they will all be removed. And it's a very good sign. And the peace will definitely come back to Manipur, and that's a very good sign. Definitely, this conflict zone, that buffer zone which was there, that will definitely vanish on National Highway 2 up to Churachandpur and More also. Not only to Churachandpur, it will be also to More. And I hope situation in Manipur will improve, and particularly the logistics. Main thing is the logistics and fuel part of it. That will flow now from India to India via Nagaland, from Dimapur to Imphal, and that will go to all the Manipuris. It's a very good sign, and I hope this decision which was taken, the tripartite agreement, that will come into vogue immediately, and next two will open. And in fact, I spoke to my boys, those who are deployed there, and they're very happy. They're not only security forces, each and every one in Manipur, they are really happy, and particularly the civilians, the Manipur, they were hoping to get it as soon as possible, and it has come, it has yielded the result. And by the way, I think this particular agreement which was done between these three parties, tripartite agreement, definitely it will bring both Meitei and Kuki groups together, and I hope definitely they will come to an agreement and peace will prevail very soon in Manipur. And Prime Minister is going to visit very soon to Manipur. It is long overdue, and I know it pretty well that our Prime Minister is going to visit it, and the peace will prevail. I'm very sure. Particularly, there are two things which government should also do it. That's the barbed wire fencing in Myanmar, Manipur, Myanmar border, Mizoram, Myanmar border, and also to check the drug smuggling from that side. That has to stop, and we have to see particularly the Myanmaris who have come from that side. They have to be taken into aspect, and they should be accounted for where they are. They are all the villagers, particularly towards Myanmar. They have to be checked because a lot of infiltration was there. The weapons have come, the people have come from Myanmar, and also the drugs have come. I hope the fencing will start immediately, and the border guard deployment will be done as quickly as possible. I'm very sure government will do these two things very quickly. Hope peace prevails. Hope discussion between Cookies and Meitei, they are being done as quickly as possible. And both the leaders from KNO, UPF and Meitei groups, they will now sit together and they will find a viable solution to the peace and prosperity of Manipur.
Fair enough, sir. Let me, in fact, call upon Mr. Vishwajit Singh also to reflect on this new reality which has dawned in Manipur. Vishwajit, this is obviously great news, as has been said by the previous panelists as well. But more important after this, Vishwajit, will be the sustenance and the consistency of such steps, which do not, even allow an inch of trouble to penetrate Manipur.
Well, thank you. Too little, too late. Anyways, let me make it very clear that the tripartite agreement, which is being, I don't know why is it bringing so much joy to everybody here? It's a regular suspension of operations agreement, which was long, it was in abeyance for more than 1 year, which has now been renewed. It's as simple as that. Okay, so let's not get excited about it. The second thing, the opening of the NH2 is, I don't see it, it's not mentioned anywhere in today's agreement. First of all, only the Kuki-Meitei Council has appealed to its people to allow movement on NH2. Now, how much water will Kuki-Meitei Council's appeal hold amongst its people? It remains to be seen. Number three, I don't know what Mr. Mishra was so happy about, that the opening of highway will be good for Kukis and Meiteis and Nagas and all Manipur people, etc. So what I want to make it clear here is that opening or closing of that highway does not affect the Kuki people. It may affect other communities, but it doesn't affect the Kuki people. So if that highway is opened by any chance and some sort of movement starts, first of all, that highway was never blockaded. Kuki people never blockaded that highway. There was no blockade. There was a buffer zone established by the security forces. So, and again, Mr. Mishra feeling so happy about removal of buffer zone is not a good idea right now. And I don't think the buffer zone should be done away with at this point. Let's not even think about it. And the second is that highway was open. Essential goods were coming and going always. Only movement of majority community Meitei groups was being opposed by the Kukis. Otherwise, the highway was open. So there's nothing new on ground. It's all there, already there. So let's now stop hyping it. And anyways, it does not affect the Kuki people at all. And Kuki people are not interested in going to Imphal area. They're still not interested. So saying that the Kukis and Meiteis will now sit together and start talking, I think it's a very, very long shot. And no such thing is in the offing right now. Discussion between Kukis and Meiteis is not, the ground is not ready for it. It's not happening. Let me tell you, let me tell everyone. It's not happening in the near future. Kukis are not interested in talking to Meiteis. Kukis are talking to the government of India. And at the signing of today's extension of SU agreement, a representative from Manipur government was there, who was Mr. Sinha, the ADGP of Manipur. He was there representing the government of Manipur. And no signing of opening, no such
okay, all right. You seem to be looking at the glass half empty, Vishwajit, at this point in time. But let me rope in Major Mohammad Ali Shah into this conversation as well. Ali, do you concur with Vishwajit? I don't. That this is not a good beginning, or this is not a good step in terms of normalizing the problems that we have seen in Manipur. You know, the government, the Home Minister himself, he's been personally involved in trying to set things right, and finally something related to that effort has fructified. Shouldn't we have a mini celebration here, contrary to what Vishwajit said?
Right, with any positive development calls for a celebration. Like, why do we celebrate New Year, birthday, or anniversary? Because there's a reason to celebrate. So here again, I see there is a reason to celebrate. We should feel happy, fine. It's a positive development. But yes, Biswajit wasn't wrong in saying that when the agreement was renewed, it was meant to be renewed. It was long pending, in fact. It was renewed, so it's a good thing that it's got renewed because it was left hanging. After the SU agreement there was no renewal thereafter. It was now officially it's been renewed. Now, opening of highways, the free movement, yes, that's very, very important. It's very, very important. In fact, just 2 3 days back, I put a LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook profile, Twitter profile where there was a flight I caught where a Meitei and Kuki cabin crew was flying together and very happy, no problem at all, no problem at all. That's all political. It's all the hatred, all the differences between the communities. They should be disappeared completely. And I think now the Prime Minister is coming to Manipur very soon. So I think it's going to certainly add a balm to the wounds. Many of them would say, okay, it's too late. Yes. But the very fact is, he's coming. And the very fact is, it's a good sign, it's a positive development. Anything that's positive should be taken as, okay, it's good. It's a reason to celebrate. So most certainly when, for example, the NH2, I have gone on that multiple times, Vinita. I have lost count how much time. In fact, we used to go from Nagaland to Manipur, in fact, and then back. So the whole NH2 is right from Dimapur to Medifema, Ghaspani, Kohima, Sakama, and then further on it goes on to Mao Gate, then Jwalamukhi, Kangpokpi, then the Thobal, Imphal, Thobal, and then Palil, Technopal, More, and then Tamu is beyond. So the entire highway, when that's open, it's a very, very good sign. There was a time it was actually blocked, where thereafter it kept getting blocked, not blocked. Buffer zones were created. So it is like, I'll tell about the unfortunate Air India tragedy that happened in Ahmedabad. We had a Kuki air hostess, we had a Meitei air hostess. Both of them lost their lives while serving, while on duty. Now, it was very unfortunate that the dead bodies of the Meitei could land in Imphal, but of the Kuki, there was a problem regarding dead bodies. So the very fact is, both the communities are very good, Vineet. There is no doubt about that. It's all been very, very political, I would say. It's been a very, very long turmoil. Manipur was forgotten for a long time. It was not there in the news. I'm glad you and your channel, you have brought it back. And I think it deserves the attention it deserves, in fact, because it's a state which has really contributed a great deal in nation building from every community, every tribe. In fact, Manipur we got medals. They've Desh ka naam roshan kara hai on a global stage in sports, be it Mirabai Chanu, be it Mary Kom, be it Ratan Thyam. Unfortunately, he passed away recently in theatre. Everywhere, people from Manipur, in fact, it's by a matter of habit. Whenever I see a person from Manipur or the Northeast in a mall or at the airport, I always make it a point to walk up to them. Initially, when I ask them where they're from, they take offense. But when I start speaking to them in their language, that's the time when they connect to me and then they tell me their problems and we keep in touch. So most certainly, I think the opening of the highway again, when there is free movement over there, it is a reason to celebrate. Definitely, it's a positive development. I see it that way.
All right. Well said, Ali. Dr. Sriram Rajesh, convener of the Delhi Meitei Coordinating Committee, is also with us. He's a senior journalist as well. Dr. Rajesh, do you concur with what Ali said, that regardless of the step being small, it is a step worth celebrating, considering the fact that you yourself, all the other panelists, they've been on a multitude of shows in the past emphasizing on the worry that Manipur has brought about, or the situation in Manipur has brought about to the country.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
First of all, as I, on behalf of Delhi Meitei Coordinating Committee, we strongly condemn the government of India's negotiating with the armed organizations who are involved in this, violence. Because as you all know, that the 3rd May was started by the armed organization who are in suspension operation. The people of Manipur, across all the community, including the Thadous and the representative, all of them are saying that this issue is quite problematic because it appears like that this is a state-sponsored armed organization and they are involved in the crime. When they were not involved, there was no any problem from the any Meitei community, but since they are involved, they are actually, many of them have involved in the violence. The Manipur State Assembly, the people across the communities have been saying that this organized armed militant organization, they should be completely disarmed. But instead of disarming them, the government of India is actually protecting them. And the most unfortunate thing is that we are not asking the mercy of the militant organization and the permission from them for the opening of the national highway. This is the duty of the state government and central government, but it clearly appears that the central government is actually requesting to the Kuki armed militant to give a mercy, to allow the Meitei to go in this hill. But in this situation, it's a betrayal by the government. And now why the governor rules was imposed clear, because since they need to extend this suspension operation, the state government is required, so they need to overthrow the government so the governor can do anything and they can give consent. Because this is without the consent of the people. If the militant organizations are involved, who will give accountability? They are responsible of the violence in this last 2.5 years. Why they are not disarming them? Why they are relocating the destination camp? What is the use of this militant organization if they are saying that they want restoration of things? Why they need to be armed? The border communities, we said that Arambai or any other body have to be disarmed. Then they also need to be disarmed. But the government have negotiated them. So it's a completely betrayal of this thing, and people will not be happy. And first of all, we cannot bring peace with negotiating with the militant organizations who are actually involved in this violence. They need to be disarmed. But it clearly appears that the government of India is party to this conflict, since they cannot involve directly. They are sponsor organization because they are getting salary from the government of India. What is the need of the suspension operation to continue? The first point is that. The first point, the government needs to answer to the people of Manipur that why is the need of the agreement of that kind of thing in this.
All right, let me rope in Jal Dwivedi once again into this conversation. Jal Dwivedi, how do you respond to what has just been said? Obviously, there are still overlapping issues when it comes to the parties involved in this negotiation and this peace. But does the government really have a choice?
Well, Vineet, the point is we need to look at this issue through a bifocal lens. It all started as a political, intervention or political issue, because when the High Court brought in that Meiteis will also come into 6th schedule, that's where the two communities came loggerhead. Otherwise, Meiteis and Kukis have lived in harmony for hundreds of years. So it is a political initiation. Secondly, now the divide is so deep, and as you can see from the spokespersons, that they have now a deep divide, and Vineet, is going to take very long time before the restoration of confidence between the two takes place. But at the same time, it's not being understood that while suspension of operation agreement, as I said, was drafted at my headquarters, none of the Meitei groups are into the suspension of operation. So it has to be across the board. You can't just choose and pick only one community. I think in long term, these militant groups need to be disarmed across the board. And final point is what government is doing. Of course, I agree that it's too little, too late. But what should have happened at very early? But point is now we cannot bring the past, but we need to move forward. All I can say is that this step is definitely a step forward. It lays the groundwork for future, peace initiatives to be put in place. It also builds upon the normalcy that will return, because the point is, once you open the highways, once you bring in certain amount of legality, then obviously you laid out the groundwork for the normalcy to return. And my final point is, now we have to work beyond the government, through the communities, through the leaders, to bridge this divide between the Kukis and Meiteis, because that's very dangerous, because until two people are convinced to live in peace, And that work, I think, is beyond the government, yet government must facilitate how the two communities can come together, and security forces must ensure that they are totally impartial and they play actually as facilitators and ensure that these two communities come together. Until they come together, this problem will not be solved. We will only be addressing half the issue, but the major issue is we need to get them together and also at the same time ensure that there are no spoilers, because there will be certain elements who like to derail the process, and we have to be very watchful beneath.
All right, General Dwivedi, appreciate the context that you have shared here, and would like to thank all the other guests as well. Ali, thank you for showing up at a short notice.